Hello, everyone. My name is Luis Carrillo. I am one of the clinical assistant professors here for the Bengal Bridge program. We are with the Academic Success and Advancement Program Department. And here we have our guest today that's going to be talking to you about something exciting. I want to definitely tell you all that we appreciate you joining us. This is the Bengal Bridge podcast. This is your bridge to success. And today I'm going to allow our speaker or a guest to kind of introduce himself, but he's going to be talking the 5 tips in the road of success in the math classes. So he teaches a lot of our math courses. He also even volunteers his time and dedicates some time to our math lab here at Idaho State University. So I'm excited about this conversation because I think a lot of students coming to ISU are sometimes nervous about the math courses that they're going to be taking. And Mufid is here to share his wisdom with you all. So if you want to take it away, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, thanks, Luis. Hi, Bengal scholars. Like Luis said, today I would like to share with you 5 tips on your road to success. Now, I'm going to start with tip number 1. Be prepared, which means the night before the class, you have to have a good night's sleep. In the morning, you have to have a healthy breakfast. And then when you go to class, take all your material with you, which could be notes, could be book, could be pen, pencil, whatever, and arrive to class early and sit in the right place and get going. That's tip number 1. So we are ready for tip number 2, which is take an effective notes. Which means as the class gets started, you need to take notes, pay attention, focus. And in taking notes, you need to focus on quality, not quantity. Basically, decide what is important, what's not important. In that process, you might need to use some shorthand for things like solution, SOT, and so on. That's tip number 2, right?
And Mufid, if we can unpack tip number 2, I really like that concept about quality versus quantity. I think sometimes students, especially as they're coming in, transitioning, they're overwhelmed, like, oh, I got to take all these notes. And I love the advice of being present, being an active learner, and developing a system where you can abbreviate a lot of the things that you're learning about and maybe in formulas, so you don't have to write out the whole word. Those little shortcuts can make a major difference in terms of when you're taking notes in class, and particularly I'm sure in math courses.
That's right. That's right. I agree, Luis. Actually, being organized and taking notes is very important. Guess what? You're going to come back and read it to prepare for a test and quiz. So if your notes not organized, you have a hard time. Now we're ready for tip number 3. Like Luis started it, be an active learner, which means while the class is running, ask questions about anything you don't know. If the teacher asks a question, respond to the question. Then keep in mind, nobody expects you to get the right answer. Just give it a try. And also be part of any discussion in the classroom. That way you will be an active learner. You'll be focused and be an active in that classroom.
Mufid, can you
Yeah.
talk about how, so you talk about, I think sometimes that the pressure, or even me going through math courses, I did feel like, oh, I have to know the answers that they call on me, right? And you're saying you don't, it's part of learning, right? It's part of the learning process. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Sure, I'll be glad to. As a matter of fact, this is a way of some of us run their class. Like this is the way I teach my class, by asking questions. I don't expect them to know the right answer. Basically, it's just I get it started, ask the question, they respond. I can hear to what they're saying. That will give me an idea where I go for the next step. So basically, asking question, answer, this is just a way of running the class. This is the way of making sure the student are involved in the process. And it's very effective. And keep them alert instead of getting sleepy. Only one person talking all the time, everybody listening. It's really boring. Actually, make the class more excited when you have it back and forth, question and answer. That's a good point, Luis. Now, what about tip number 4? after the class is over, make sure whenever you have the opportunity, you read the book and do your homework. We don't want you to get behind. This is really a killer. So you make sure you do your homework on time.
Yeah,
Now, go ahead.
if I can, Mufid, when you talk about doing your homework, I don't know if you can answer this, but are all homework assignments always graded? Or sometimes we try to tell students is doing your homework is part of the rehearsal stage in terms of in your memory, right? Doing your homework
Exactly.
is gonna give you the opportunity to practice, build more connections in your mind to help you recall. I thought I was super smart in math. I would only do one or two practice questions because I knew the
Mhm.
professor wasn't going to grade it. I was like, oh, I don't need to do all of them. I missed out on the rehearsal. I missed out on the practice. I missed out on mastering those skills. And I think sometimes, do you do you grade your all your homework assignments, or is homework intended for students to develop those skills? How do you see that?
That's a good question. Actually, it depends on the class. If it's like a low-level class where it needs a lot to practice on main concepts, we make it required. As a matter of fact, most of our classes, they have a software like my math lab, which goes with it. So we assign a homework, the student tried it more than one time. Sometimes you have an unlimited trial for the question till you get it right. So the whole idea is not the grade, it is just the practice. And you hit just a good point where the whole idea behind giving a homework is to give the student the opportunity to practice these ideas so they can move it from the short-term memory into the long-term memory where they can retrieve it whenever they need it for a test or a quiz or something. Yeah, that's a good point. So really a homework is very, very important when you go and take class, especially math classes. Tip number 5, my advice from after all year of experience is for you guys, you utilize your office hours, your math teacher office hours, and also the math center on campus, and also any other resources which we have on campus. So this is really very, very important. And we are lucky, Idaho State, it has so many resources. I guess Luis can add to this also.
Yeah, we definitely are very fortunate that we have all kinds of different resources there to help students. Mufid, I want you to unpack the math lab a little bit for me, because I think sometimes the misconception students have about maybe seeking support or help or tutoring is like, well, I only need tutoring if I don't understand the concept. Is that true? Or is tutoring something else?
It is something else. Actually, basically, the math center is there for you to go and enjoy that environment. You can see some student from your class, so you can have a discussion with your classmates. And also, I have been working with the math center for some time now, and what we tell our tutors there, just to guide their students through the process. It's not there to solve the question for them. It is to guide them through the solution. So basically what it is, it gives you a better understanding of what you're doing. And guess what? When we talk to the student about solving one question, we don't think about solving that question. We are thinking about, well, what about they have another question which is similar? So we teach them the process of solving the problem. So, and we have a very qualified tutors really in the math center. So really I encourage my student really to use it, to use that service.
So you heard it, folks. If you know that math is something that requires a little more time, Mufid, I try to tell students that I try to stay away from language like I'm not good at math, right? We hear students say that, and it's not that they're not good at math. Is that maybe it requires a little bit more effort from some students versus others. But we know that in college, there's just certain materials that are easier for some students versus others. Maybe you're great about math, but you really dread writing an English paper, or you dread public speaking. So coming to get that tutoring is key. It can really help students. And I would say that if you know that you're in that situation, be proactive, right? Work with your professors, take advantage of their office hours, and they're
That's
more
right.
than likely going to refer you to these wonderful resources available to you. And now, Mufid, can you tell me, is the math lab only available like 8 to 5, or what if I'm working on homework like at 7 p.m.?
Actually, we go beyond 5 o'clock. Actually, we go late, and basically, right now we go up to even 9 o'clock. So, and it depends on the demand. So, really, we go all over. And I want to say just one point, Luis. You just hit a good point. I'm not good in math. It's a misconception. This is a false statement. Basically, what it is, it looks like through your education, you have a bad incident which turn you off from math. You give yourself a chance. That don't let that incident, keep you away from math. Give a chance for yourself and try somebody else. Try another class. You'll be surprised how good, how many skills do you have really to be very good in math. So really, I invite my student all the time to give it a chance, not just get away out of it.
That's definitely great advice, Mufid, and I hope that more students take advantage of the wisdom that you just shared with them, and
Oh,
know that they have a resource available to them now here at ISU. I know you spend time at the math lab, so hopefully
that's right.
folks that are listening or viewing, however they're consuming this information, that they know that they have somebody there that can kind of guide them and help them along their journey, at least in the math courses. But I
Definitely.
want to thank you for giving us your advice. And is there a way that folks can, maybe if they had math specific questions, they can get a hold of you? Do you have an email address that they can send the questions to?
Sure, definitely. It's very simple. It is my first name, MUFID, Moffat, Abu Diab, ABUDIAB, at isu.edu. Just shoot me an email. I'll be glad to respond to you. And also, if you look on campus, go Mass Center. If you go to the link, I'll be there most of the time. I'm spending probably 14 hours right now in the Mass Center to help students.
Well, we are very lucky to have you, Mufid. I know you're dedicated to helping students be successful, and not
Thank you.
just in math, but their college journey. If folks want to learn more information about the Math Center or the Math Lab, they can definitely visit us at isu.edu/student support center. There you should be able to have more information about the Math Center and their hours of operation. But
Okay.
if you want to know more about Bengal Bridge and some of the things that were discussed in today's podcast, definitely give us a call. You can call us, you can email us. You can email us at bengalbridge@isu.edu. You can also call us at 208-282-3662. Or you can come visit us. We're on the third floor of the Rendezvous building at the ISU campus, and we'd love the opportunity to give you firsthand a firsthand tour of the math lab. So we hope to see you this summer, and we hope to see you this fall. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Mofid, for your
Thank
time.
you.
And
Thank you.
I hope that folks can share that advice with their friends.
I hope
Until
so.
next week, have a great day, and we will stay tuned.
Great.